Hi, Misha here, and finally the batch of models from Hobbymaster slated for November came in December. Everything's behind because, of course, it is 2020. So I thought I would share this one here. It's a little new and different. This is, of course, a Lockheed F-35, but it's a different variant. This is the Israeli Air Force F-35I Adir, which the name means awesomeness, they say, which is great. If it meant awesome, that'd be one thing, but awesomeness is great. But I think they should have just gone full on and called it awesome sauce. Or awesome-o. This is a 1/72 scale diecast. And this is essentially an F-35A, so the standard land-based standard takeoff version. So it's about 50.5 feet long, has a wingspan of 35 feet, and has a single seat, has a 25mm cannon with 180 shells. It's powered by one jet engine, which is honestly one of the most powerful jet engines manufactured these days. And it is a 5th generation, and it is considered stealth. For full stealth missions, it has an internal bay with 4 hardpoints, and the A version can carry up to 5,700 pounds on these 4 internal points. We'll look at the ordnance it comes with in a minute. Or it can carry ordnance on 6 external hardpoints, 3 under each wing. And these have a maximum capacity of 15,000 pounds, but it can't go full load. That would be nearly 21,000 pounds. Maximum payload is about 18. So at some point you gotta, And usually the outer pylons are for air-to-air missiles such as Sidewinders. And of course the F-35 has had a long and interesting process. The U.S. Air Force only took delivery of the first ones in 2011 and began testing, and was not even close to operationally ready until 2016. However, the Israeli Air Force, the IAF, was involved, at least in some way, in the very beginning. They first expressed interest in being kind of a partner in 2003. And there's a bit of back and forth, but eventually they did sign up in 2010 as part of the American Military Assistance Program, and initially ordered 20 with an option for more. But in 2011 they became a little concerned after all the problems and delays, so they sent some people to the US, and they kind of leveraged this to their benefit because they had been wanting a specialized version. They could take their electronic warfare, other systems, radios, radar, other comms equipment, basically, and so even their weapons. And the U.S. and Lockheed were resistant to this, but it seems like by 2012 there's at least some give, and Lockheed began working with Israelis to customize. Now, not to get the program too far behind, they agreed that the first 20, later reduced to 19, would basically be F-35As, but with some Israeli computers and some computer software, as well as Israeli communications equipment. And then the next ones would be more adapted. In 2014, there was a discussion about increasing the order by 25, and then at the beginning of 2015, a deal was signed to add 14 more to the order, with an option of 17 on top of that. And then finally, on June 22, 2016, the first F-35 for the Israeli Air Force rolled out of the factory in the USA. And then the second one would come out a couple of months later. Keep in mind, this was pretty early. The U.S. Air Force was just getting ready itself. And then later on that fall, they would exercise their option for additional aircraft, increasing the order to 50. And the first 2 aircraft would arrive in Israel in December of 2016, and they would begin immediately training very intensively throughout 2017, taking more deliveries. They would increase here and there, and by the end of that year, they would have the first operational squadron with 9 ready to go, and orders still coming in. And they wasted very little time in using them. In fact, it was announced on May 22, 2018, that the Israeli Air Force was the first user in the world to take the F-35 into combat when it attacked Iranian forces operating in Syria. And deliveries would continue. By 2019, they had 16 operational. And in July again, there was another heavily publicized use of the F-35. And now the order has been increased to 75. Initially, way back when, they were hoping to get at least 100, and they still might, but at this time, they just want to get the original 50 done, which are supposed to be done by 2021, so next year. And again, they've added 25 at least provincially, so we'll see if that happens. The Israeli Air Force used them again this year in February, I think it was February 20, to attack what they described as a large convoy. And no one seems to really know exactly what it was. Could be Iranian, could be insurgents, could be Hezbollah, I don't know. Middle East stuff. But yeah, they are using them. And I really don't know how well they're liking them, but it seems like the F-35, now that the bugs are worked out, is doing okay. It is a competent jet. It can get up to Mach 1.6, and it can carry out quite a wide range of missions. Maybe not as flexible as some, but more flexible than others. And for the time being, it's stealthy, although the Israelis figure that in 5 or 10 years, newer equipment will be able to overcome its stealth. And they have plans to adapt it to use their guided bombs and missiles, as well as they want to add an external fuel tank because they don't like the range, or they at least want it to be better. So yeah, they have plans for it. And to date, they're operating 2 squadrons of these, with probably more on the way. They're using these to let older F-16s and F-15s, some of which date back to the 1980s, be retired out of service. That said, they're retiring older jets faster than they're bringing the F-35I into action, so they are kind of experiencing a bit of a problem. I just thought the history was neat. I have an Israeli F-16, and I thought this would go well with it. And it's pretty much your standard Hobbymaster model. Because of the design of the F-35, it has more plastic. I mean, the whole wing and everything's metal, but then some of the lower, because of all the doors, it's plastic. We have air-to-air missiles on each wing, and then we have 4 bombs. So this is in a ground attack configuration. I have it assembled clean here, so gear up and the bay doors closed. It's obviously not going to be very stealthy though. Here is the stuff it came with. Move you down, maybe. Typical. You get 2 of these for the internals. And then 2 of these for the medium hard points. And the rear wheels are separate from their doors, but the front is all one piece, which is nice. Only has 1 wheel because it's the A. The C would have 2. Here's all our canopy for positioning it open, if you wish. Remember, the F-35 hinges forward. Sometimes Hobbymaster will do them where the canopy on the plane can hinge, but if that would require them to have a visible seam or hinge, they don't. They'll just give you 2 canopies. Here's our doors. And our bomb bay doors. Pretty standard, but straightforward enough. And here is the alternative bottom plate if you don't want to have it on the stand. It will plug up the notch, and it comes with the usual Hobbymaster little wire tool to get stuff in and out, which is actually useful on this model because the doors and whatnot fit very tightly. In fact, I think they're a smidgen oversized. Sometimes with these I have to just lightly sand the edges down, but better that than fitting loose, right? The ordnance fits on the wings okay. The little missiles on the ends are a little fidgety just because they're so long and the slot they go into is so thin and narrow, but that's just the contour of the wing. But the inner pylons are stable. You can always put a tiny dot of glue, which is usually what I do. And yeah, has the regular Hobbymaster stand. Not bad, not great. This one slots in though instead of a cradle, so it's very stable. And it does come with a kind of piece to go around the edge of the stand to fill the hole in the bottom. And you get your usual removable pilot figure. By the way, the helmet systems that are used in these are being made in Israel for these as well. They really want to have as much made there as they can. And this is really to give them control, also to kind of appease their own aerospace industries. They were not best pleased early on, especially with the adoption of the F-35. They preferred to do things domestically, but that's not how it worked out. But yeah, just wanted to bring this model to you. Why not? We haven't talked about the F-35 in a minute. So, yeah. If you have any questions or comments, or just let me know what you think of this model. Feel free to drop that in the comments. And if you could, like, share, and subscribe. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon. Next time.